I hate to tell this story again, but I couldn't think, I had another story to tell to open this up, but this is my favorite one. It's how I gained confidence in my life, how others helped me gain. When I was 14, our family broke up, and because of alcohol, we got in a bus and moved from North Carolina to Maryland, and we had everything we had in one little satchel, which meant one what you wore and one other shirt and one other pair of socks and one other pair of underwear. And for a month, that's what we had. You know, you went to school every day basically wearing the same shirt, went to a new church, and you know, I never had a lot of confidence about getting in front of people. And anyhow, at age 16, I got saved at age 14. At age 16, the pastor said they're having a camp down in Virginia. Want to take you guys down. So 6 of us teenage guys got in the back of his pickup. He had a truck cap. And we sat in the back with our luggage. He hauled us down to Virginia. We went to church camp, and we learned a new song down there. And so he picked us up Saturday to go back to Maryland, and we sang that song. And he said, "Hey, that's a good one. I want you to sing it tomorrow in church." What? Sing it in church? So we're just a bunch of young guys. I think I was the oldest. And anyhow, we did. We got up, and 6 of us sang all the same. We didn't have any harmony. We didn't know what harmony was. We just all sang lead. And little did I know the reaction of the church that morning, what a pivotal time that was in my life. Because when we finished singing, everybody in the church acted like we were so great. They came up and said, "Oh, we love that. Please keep singing. We want you to sing. You guys did great." And we said, "Well, okay." And we started learning harmony, and we did better, and we practiced, and we just kept singing there for years, while my whole time till I went to college, and even when I'd come home from college, we sang. My 2 of the members went and joined the high school choir, became all-state. My brother was all-state tenor, Randy was all-state bass. Brian, both of them went in college quartet, traveled around and sang. Randy's been singing in the national anthem before lots of ball games. All 6 of us live for Jesus our whole lives. 3 of them are gone to heaven. We know where. And the pivotal thing, one of the pivotal things to give us confidence as young men to do something for God was a bunch of people who knew we weren't that great, but they were in favor of us doing anything we could for Jesus. And they're going to let us know that and build us up. The power we have to make a difference in people's lives. And that's what we want to do, is help other people gain that kind of confidence. Let's look at Romans 15. I love this great verse. We must not just please ourselves. Now, it's all right to have what you want for lunch. Please yourself some, but don't just please yourself. We should help others to do what is right and build them up in the Lord. What a great verse for all of us here. To not just please ourselves, but help others. Remember what I said about confidence in the last 2 weeks. Confidence in God and confidence that God is working in us. We have confidence in God. He is trustworthy. He is wise. He is good. He wants the best for us to use us, and confidence that God is working in us. Jesus said, "I'm going, but I'm going to leave the Holy Spirit, and you're going to do greater things than I did." We have confidence that God is working in us. This leads us to a good kind of self-confidence, and this is very important to lead us to a God kind of success. You may never be rich. Maybe you will. You may never be famous. But I tell you what you can do. You can please God. You can be a good Christian. You can be a good husband. You can be a good wife. You can be a good parent. You can help other people. You can let other people know about Jesus. You can help build other people up. You can do it. I can do it. We can be the kind of success that God wants us to be. So let's talk about 10 ways I've got to help other people gain this kind of trust and faith and confidence they need. Number 1, treat people with respect and warmth. Everybody ought to be treated with respect. Not just important people, not just older people. Everybody should be treated with respect. So, how you talk to them. Try to remember their name. Smile. Use eye contact. Give attention to people like you would if you wanted something from them. As if it was your next boss. As you treated your wife or husband before you married them. And hopefully you're treating them better now than you even did then. And we should always tell young people, if that man or that girl won't treat you with respect before you get married, get rid of them. So anyhow, let's treat people all the time. Treating someone with respect gives the message, this person is important. So let's make it a goal in life to treat everybody with respect and warmth. Number 2, show appreciation. Paul said to the Corinthians, I have the highest confidence in you, and I take great pride in you. You have greatly encouraged me and made me happy despite all our troubles. This ought to be a daily thing. Say thank you to somebody, show appreciation every single day of our lives. And you know what? When people are appreciated, it says to that person, they say to themselves, I can do something right. I can do something to help other people. And so go with little things, big things, all the time. Show appreciation. Because that helps us to gain confidence. Number 3, don't be a one-way perfectionist. Now, a lot of people think, if we could just go back to the early church was perfect. I say you need to read your Bible. They had a couple in there that got killed in church by God because they lied. Wouldn't that be a shake-up service? You should have been in church today. And read the book of Corinthians, how much trouble they got into, getting into lawsuits with each other, and the way they treated each other, and the divisions. They had all different. Read the book of Corinthians, and yet it was to the Corinthians that he wrote that last verse I just read. Hey, you guys, you've made me happy in some of the things you. He still bragged on them. Now, he also told them things he was doing wrong, but my point is, he was not anymore a one-way perfectionist. I'm sure in his old Phariseeism, he was more of I'm right, you're wrong kind of thing. I do everything right, but you do everything wrong. And we don't want to be like that. We have to be willing to overlook some faults and not be a perfectionist. Now, let me say real quickly, I'm not saying anything goes. I have to say that because some of you may be thinking, good, I can get away with anything. Some things need to be confronted. Now, and since if you did not hear enough about Will Smith, I'm going to use one more Will Smith illustration today. It's interesting to me that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock for a joke about his wife, but they have an open marriage. Do you know what an open marriage is? An open marriage means both of them acknowledge they can have sexual relations with anybody else. And so basically he's saying, Chris Rock, if I'd have found you in bed with my wife, it'd have been okay. But don't tell a joke about her hair. Wow! So I thought, well, I'm going to read a little bit more about that. And so I read about Will Smith, who supposedly had a Christian upbringing. And he had an interview last year about this open marriage. And he said, with my Christian upbringing, I felt guilty at first. Well, I'm glad for that. You had some kind of thing. But I went to a counselor, a life coach, and he told me, you can't be sorry for the way you are. That's just the way you are. And just go ahead. And so he said, and so I know it was okay to be me and be who I was. That's a quote from Will Smith. Now let's think about that quote. How about little Hitler? His mother takes him to a counselor. He's been beating up guys down the street being a bully. And the counselor says, little Adolf, just be who you are. How about if a husband comes and he's beating his wife every Friday night, he gets drunk and beats his wife, and the counselor says, well, that's who you are. Just be who you are. How about if a wife is a drug addict, she abuses her children physically all the time, and the counselor says, that's just who you are. See, Jesus accepts us who we are and forgives us, but He doesn't want us to stay there. You say, well, I love Jesus. Well, Jesus says, you love me, keep my commandments. Loving Him means He is the Lord of your life. Jesus loves you too much for you to stay there, Will. He loves you enough to change you and help you grow and be like God wants you to be. And God does not want you to be in an open marriage. And somebody gets to say that every once in a while and not believe this nonsense. Now, I got off point a little bit because I got so aggravated by that counselor. Just be who you are. That's one of the stupidest things I've heard in a long time. Besides being one of the most evil. So now let me get back on my point. I'm not saying anything goes. Sometimes you need to confront something in people's lives. But a whole lot of what we do is not something we need to go around confronting. Jesus didn't make me the enforcer to change everybody's life. What a relief that is. You know, if you take that on you and say, I'm the one, God wants me to change everybody's life. No, He wants you to go out and tell the truth about Jesus and live right. And then speak the truth when you have a chance into their life. But He is not making me. So I'm just saying there is a balance there. Stand for the truth, but don't go around telling everybody everything they did wrong all the time. Especially on petty stuff. Petty stuff. Let some of that go. Do not be a one-way perfectionist. In Ephesians it says, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another. How do you forgive? Just as God, through Christ, has forgiven you. That's how you forgive. And when we are not always criticism, and that's why I say this, too much criticism reinforces the negative thinking they probably already have. I heard one guy say that if you talk to other people like you talk to yourself, you wouldn't have any friends. Because so many of us already talk to ourselves like, you idiot. You can't do anything right. And we don't need to reinforce that. So, don't be a one-way perfectionist. Number 4, listen. Listen. The problem with listening is it takes time. You know, I'm doing other stuff. And in this busy world, that's why we don't have enough sometimes listening and stop to take time for people, because we're always busy. But we have to take time to listen, because listening says, you are important to me. And so, don't just give platitudes. Sometimes we have to just take time to listen to them. I don't have time. I've talked about this before, but I'll give you one key. One key to effective listening. Here it is. Stop talking. If you're talking, you're not listening. And here's how conversations should go. This person talks, then they stop. And this person talks. Then they stop, and then that one talks. But then they stop. And then this one talks. But then they stop. Some people need to be taught how to have a conversation. Because they think a conversation is me talking. Okay. I'm trying to make a little fun. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I'm just saying. We have to stop talking and listen, and take time to listen. All right. Number 5, give sincere praise. And I wasn't referring to anybody in here. All right. Give sincere praise. Sincere praise. Now, one tradition my wife started that we do sometimes at our house on birthdays is we sit there after the dinner and you say one specific praise about that person. And you don't realize how hard it is for some people to say a specific, true praise about somebody. Because you want to say, like, I just like you so much. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm glad for you to say you like me, but what's something you like about me? What is good? And when you really do that, it's an emotional moment, isn't it? To actually sit there in front of other people and say something good about that person. And you have to understand, I'm resisting temptation to make a joke right now about somebody, so that's why I'm looking funny. But Anyhow, give sincere praise. And you say, well, I can't think any. I'm going to help you. I found this on the internet because there's a whole lot of these character traits to compliment, which is what we really need to be more than anything is character traits. Sometimes production is good. And look at there, kind. If somebody's kind, that deserves praise. Generous. They don't just keep it all themselves. They give it. Creative. Our God is a creator. To be like Him is to be creative. Considerate. Think about somebody else. To be brave and not just go along to get along. Friendly. Honest. Don't we need honest people? Hardworking. Still a good thing. Imaginative. Intelligent. Trustworthy. Playful. Supportive. Organized. Thank God for organized people. Rachel came in and organized our pantry. She organized our garage. And now she's leaving us to go organize Joy. But that's a good thing. All right, where did I go? Where's organized anyhow? Huh? Anyhow, yeah, determined, humorous, reliable. Boy, don't we want reliable people? People you can count on. If they say it, they're going to do it. Loving, enthusiastic, responsible, confident, sensitive, observant, compassionate, insightful, witty, warm, open-minded. Open-minded in the sense, I'm willing to learn new things. I'm willing to listen. I haven't arrived at some total all knowledge. Patient, reasonable. We can talk to you about things. You don't just shut your mind. Outgoing, independent, easygoing, energetic, upbeat, understanding, thoughtful, artistic, cooperative, cheerful, motivated, courageous, flexible, optimistic, unselfish, considerate, helpful, encouraging. I've just given you plenty of things we can all use to sincerely praise somebody else. And it'd be good for everybody in here to write a note to somebody this week with some of those things in it. And you know what? When somebody says that to you, and you know it is true, that you have tried to be generous. You have tried to be helpful and kind. And you did take a brave, and it rings true in your life, that builds extreme confidence in you. Now, so that's why I say not flattery. It's not just try to get them feeling good about you, flattery. Sincere truth of encouragement makes a difference. That we can all do. Sincere, specific character points we can give. All right, number 6. Show people how to take a small step forward. Now, I mentioned before with children. Help them to know. Give them a small step they can do, and so they can build up on that and have confidence. And here's the key. If anybody, you have grandchildren and they spill something, don't yell at them. Everybody spills stuff. Everybody knocks stuff over. We were doing the dishes a few years ago. I dropped the plate. The plate bounced off the floor, hit the front of our stove, broke the glass. We had to buy a new stove. Because I dropped the plate. But here's the good thing. Sandy still lets me do the dishes. That's it. But if the child spills something, say, oh, here, we'll wipe this up. And make them help clean it up. They'll try not to do it again. But they have to help clean it up. Don't yell at them. Give them confidence that if there's a problem, we can fix it. Problems are not things problems are things we can fix, we can overcome. We can have confidence, we can do stuff. And do that with everybody. Let's not go crazy over problems. Let's work together and get them solved. Let's help people if people are not saved. Let's give them one step forward in thinking about God or in their life or answering one question. Or if they're a new Christian, one step forward that they can learn how to pray or about prayer. Or give them a Bible or give them a Bible app where they can take one step forward in their growth and have confidence in their life. So, be a Christian model and model the Christian life. Okay? I'm not talking about in some magazine where Charles Hood is on the cover. Christian model. Well, maybe Charles might be a good one. But I'm talking about you are examples so people can look at your life and say, I get some things, that's how I can be a Christian. And model that to them. All right, number 7, spend time with people. Oh, now we're really getting to it. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. How do you influence somebody if you don't spend time with them? And let me ask you another question. If you're not going to influence anybody for good, what good are you doing with your life? Ouch. Jesus does not want us to sit at home and be a Christian hermit who never helps anybody else. And that should not be a goal in our life. And so, okay. So, the gift of presence shows you are important. So we be present with somebody in their celebration, in their grief, in their time of need, in just friendship. Spending time with people shows they are important, and it also gives you a chance to influence them, to build them up. And so we're going to have to figure out somehow in this busy life of ours, we can spend time with people to be able to influence them for good. Look at this great verse in Hebrews 10. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. Now, isn't that interesting? We want to motivate each other to love each other more, to love others more, to do good works. And it says, let us think of ways. I don't have the sum total of exhaustive list today. You can think of ways too. Let us think of ways to motivate each other to love and to good works. And so it says, and let us not neglect our meeting together as some people do. See, there's the early church. Some of them were already missing church. But encourage each other. Now, do you see what he's getting at there? He's saying you get together and you can help each other. It's not just for me, it's for each other. Let's look at this guy. Of course, it's got his name there. I don't know, has anybody here ever heard of Gale Sayers? Know what I'm talking about? Some of it? Okay, wow, all right. Great football player back in the 60s and early 70s. If you ever saw a video of him, it's like he's a running back and he runs here and the guy tries to tackle him, he's all the way over here. He's just smooth to get away on people. He and Brian Piccolo were the first interracial roommates in the NFL. It was like an experiment, put a black guy and a white guy together as roommates. They became great friends. They both are married and both their wives became great friends. They did things together. They cheered on each other. And then Brian Piccolo got cancer. I recommend this movie, Brian's Song. If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you watched it before, watch it again. Brian's Song is based on this book that Gale Sayers wrote about he and Brian Piccolo called, the book's name is I Am Third. And it comes from this quote. The Lord is first, my friends are second, and I am third. Wow! You know how revolutionary that would be if we lived that? I'm not saying I always do. The Lord is first, my friends are second, I'm third. And that's sort of what Paul is saying there in that book about church and getting together with each other. It's not just for you. When we get to church, it is for you. We get something out of church, and God receives worship, but also we're looking out for each other. We shouldn't just come to church and say, what did I get today? They sang, I didn't even like a song they sang. And that preacher, I've heard that stuff before. I don't even really need to go back. Well, it's not just for you. It's for you worshiping God. It's for me worshiping God. And for us motivating each other to love and good works. Encouraging one another. And so your thought should be when they come to church, I wonder how baby Walker's doing. I wonder how Cindy's doing. She's battling all this sickness. I wonder how somebody else is doing. They had some discouragement. How can I encourage them? How can I appreciate that person who's doing some kind of ministry for God? We'd have more thoughts like that. You realize church is not just about me getting something. Church is about me helping everybody else. and look at it that way, and we'll see we do need to not neglect getting together with other Christians. So meeting together as Christians isn't just for you, it's for the rest of us. Let's remember that. Number 8, believe in them. Now, I'm talking about not that they can do anything like the count, but they can do what they're supposed to do. This is a picture of a guy named Jamie Escalante, true story. He was an immigrant from Bolivia, moved to East Los Angeles, was a high school math teacher, and he went in and found chaos and no interest in math, nobody passing the test, doing anything good in math, very few anyhow, and changed that, really did change it in the high school he was in. And then wrote a book called Stand and Deliver, which became a movie called Stand and Deliver. And he said a couple things were not in the movie, though he did like the movie. One thing is, it didn't happen immediately. When he went in there and there was just all low scores in math, the movie makes it look like it had 1 year. He said it took a few years. But the program changed till finally they were in calculus, taking more students took and passed the calculus exam than all the rest of the LA high schools put together. He had great, tremendous success in turning around the math program in that high school. He said the other thing was they left out one story that he told. It's hard to believe, but he tells it. He said, I had 2 Johnnies in my class. One Johnny was an A+ student. Always agreeable, easy to get along with, got along with the other students, popular, had a good attitude, and another Johnny was the opposite. Failing, angry, not getting along with anybody, not had a good attitude in class. They had a parent-teachers meeting, and one mother came to him and said, how's my Johnny doing? And he thought to himself, well, that's got to be the good Johnny because the other one wouldn't be asking. And so he said, he's doing wonderful. He is such a good student. He does A+. He is so easy to get along with. He just gets along with everybody and has a good attitude. He is going to go far in life. And she was so happy. The next day, the other Johnny, the failing Johnny, came to him and said, thank you for what you said to my mother last night. It made her so happy. And I want to make a promise to you. I'm going to become what you said. By the end of the marking period, he was C-. By the end of the semester, he was honor roll. It's just hard to believe, isn't it? But the difference it made. And somebody saying he could do it. No, I know everybody's not going to do it because you say that, but some aren't. But they know they can do it. We'll believe in them and act like they can. And not just say, well, they're a bunch of poor students. They can't do anything. No, they can. Poverty doesn't mean you can't learn or change. I was poor once. So we got to have some belief in people and trust that people have potential and that God can work in their lives. Everybody we see is a potential Christian. Every Christian we see is a potential to grow and do more for God. And we have confidence in that. Number 9, have a personal interest and enthusiasm. Now here's a cliche. People don't know care how much you know till they know how much you care. Now that's some truth, just like all cliches. When I go to my doctor, I'm more interested in what he knows. If he cares for me, that's a plus. But for the people around me, when they come around and try to tell me what to do, I don't want to listen. But if I know they care for me, they're genuinely interested in me, I'm willing to listen to what they have to say. So I'm saying when we have a personal interest in somebody, we are helping them to gain confidence that what they can do. So let's try to show when someone shows enthusiasm what we're doing, it helps us to see its importance. And number 10, pray. Pray. Of course, let's get the supernatural. Let's get the power of God. Pray. Pray for that person. I'm going to ask everybody in here to make a commitment. Here's what it is. I will pray for everybody in my small group at least once a week. I sent out our prayer requests that we wrote down, Martin wrote down for us last week to our group. I'm asking you, whatever group you're in, to pray for the people in that group at least once every week. Who will do that? All right, everybody. Afraid not to. Now you look bad, but I believe you will. I believe you will. We will pray. What difference that would make if I've got 4 or 5 people praying for me every week? I believe it makes a difference when we pray. I believe we got God involved there. So let's pray for the person and pray for yourself to be an encourager. God, help me to do that. To use my life to influence somebody for good, to help them do the right thing and build them up. God, help me to do that. It says in Acts 4, there was a Joseph, but nobody called him Joseph. What did they call him? Barnabas, son of encouragement. That was his nickname. He was so much an encourager, they just called him Barnabas, son of encouragement. I hope nobody of us would have an encouragement. He's the son of indifference. He doesn't even care. I'm the daughter of criticism. You know, if you see me, I'm going to set you straight. We don't want those nicknames, do we? We'd rather be an encourager. Help build people up. Let's make our church a culture of encouragement. And I believe that's happening, by the way. There's so many people here, you've been encouragers for years and years. You're doing the right thing. I commend you. I'm reminding you it is a good thing. Let's keep making this church a culture of encouragement, where I know when I come, somebody's going to say something good to help me. Wouldn't that be good? Every Sunday we had that. Let's make our home a place where never is heard a discouraging word. We don't need any more discouraging words at home. We get them on the news. Home would be a place of encouragement. I'm on your side. I want you to help you do the right thing and build you up. And then let's take our encouragement outside the church and outside the home. And let's encourage people to come to Christ and walk with Him. Because Jesus is what they need. I'm going to tell 2 stories and I'm going to close. Pots and pans. Zig Ziglar tells this story. When he started out selling pots and pans. And he would go to somebody's house and do a dinner, make the dinner for them, these pots and pans, to show them how good these pots and pans were. He did that for a little while and found out it was hard for him to tell about the pots and pans and cook the dinner and wash the dishes. So he put an ad out for somebody to come and cook the dinner and wash the dishes while he told about it. And he got a person by the name of Jerry Underwood, a woman by the name of Jerry, with a G. And she was raising 3 daughters, taking in sewing, baking cakes. She said, I'll do it. There's 2 things. I'll do it after 4 o'clock, and I won't say anything. She said, as you can see, I'm shy and quiet. Don't ever ask me to say anything. I'll be glad to do the cooking, to do the dishes. You do all the talking. He said, all right. 2 or 3 months later, he came into a conflict. He had somehow 2 places scheduled at the same time. He said, Jerry, you got to help me tomorrow night. I got to have you do it and demonstrate it and do it. She said, I can't do that. He said, when I told her that, you could see the terror in her eyes about talking in front of other people. He said she was literally shaking about doing it. And he said, but I don't have anybody else. I don't want to lose this. I got it. She said, all right, I'll do it, but you better never ask me again. I'll never get a wink of sleep tonight. 10 o'clock the next night, Jerry called him, all glowing. You won't believe how good it turned out. I went to that first house, and they had a cup of coffee and a piece of cake for me. And they just were so kind to me. They said, you come back and bring your daughters, we'll cook dinner. And as she left, they said, Jerry, you're such a beautiful personality, and you're so professional. And those words helped change her life. She became more and more outgoing, helping people. She became a vice president of a multi-million-dollar company. Her and her own husband started another company. Because one couple said, you have a beautiful personality and you're so professional. I mean, the power we have in words when we mean it. And one more. We all know who that is. Most accounts call him one of our greatest presidents, Abraham Lincoln. But his whole administration was during the Civil War. Had a lot of criticism that whole time about how the war was going, what he did with things. Always criticism. He almost thought he was going to lose the 1864 election. And then Good Friday, 1865, he was shot. Ford's Theater, they took him to a house nearby and he died early the next morning. They looked through Abraham Lincoln's pockets. They found a watch fob, 2 pair of glasses, a Confederate $5 bill, and several newspaper clippings that spoke highly of him, that praised him. I can see him, when the time to get hard, pulling out, I can do it. Because even for you, the President of the United States, you need some encouragement. Your boss needs encouragement wherever you're working. He's not going without it. Everybody needs it. President, poor people, everybody needs it. And we have the power to do it. So remember our verse. I think I have that up here next. I'm not sure. I don't know if I did. Yeah, if we realize the power we have, we wouldn't be so stingy with it. You, and I'm talking to you, can make a difference in somebody's life. And when you make a difference and I make a difference in somebody's life, they can make a difference in somebody else's life. Romans 15, we must not just please ourselves, we should help others to do what is right and build them up in the Lord. So I'm going to pray in a minute, and I want to ask you to make a commitment. I know many of you are already encouragers. God help me to keep being an encourager, to look for opportunities to be an encourager. All of us to commit. God, I will help build others up if you'll help me. Let's bow our heads for prayer.